Hey, so happy Sunday. I wanted to tell you a story that has stuck with me for about 14 or 15 years, and it has influenced the way I think about making purchases, and maybe it'll help you with your wealth building journey and thinking about where you might fall in the system I'm going to talk about. So about 14 or 15 years ago, I was still an undergrad and I was studying for a marketing degree, and I was in my first consumer behavior course. And I don't remember a lot of the lessons from my undergrad that far long ago, but this has always stuck with me and I'm never going to forget it. And it kind of struck me right at the heart, and maybe it'll stick with you when we get done with this. So what we talked about was a system called the Values, Attitudes, and Lifestyles, or VALS system. And what it's really focused on is if we could segment you or me or any other consumer by the things that they care about, their values, how they feel about things, the lifestyles that they chase after, how could we get them to spend more money on our products by tailoring everything that we do to that person so that they give us more of their money. And so obviously when I talk about wealth building, it's kind of a fight to keep your money so you build your own wealth. Well, I want to tell you about what a striver is. And again, this definition I've never forgotten because I realized that this was kind of me at the time. And so this person, a striver, is someone that is unhappy and they never have enough. And a striver probably learned this maybe as a kid in our society, where you kind of learn that if you don't have money or you don't have status, you're not as valuable as someone else. And maybe you have some memory of a time where you really wanted something, but you couldn't afford it, and you had that restriction, and you just kind of become unhappy. And you learn that the only way to become happier is by buying something. So this striver is also image conscious and they emulate. So they're worried about how they appear to others, and they feel like the way to fix their unhappiness or to have more value as a person is that they need to emulate status. And so they need to be better than other people, or to kind of be in that higher tier of person that has a nicer car or nicer clothes. This was also like, as a kid, I grew up in the 90s, and I remember I grew up with hip hop and rap, and you would see these, hip hop and rap videos where someone was, they were throwing money around, or they had a fancy watch or a nice car, and a lot of times the socioeconomic place that, people grew up is like rather poor. And so how do you show that you're not poor anymore? Well, you flaunt what you have. You have more money than other people, and you can just throw money around like it doesn't matter because you have so much of it. Well, so ironically, you learn that you need to buy more luxury and you need to have status in order to be valuable. Ironically, this striver is someone that has limited income, and they always carry a credit card balance. And well, why is that? Is they're striving, but they never really arrive at where they're trying to get. So they never make enough money, and they see other people with luxury goods, and they say, well, the only way I'm going to make myself happy is by buying those things, but I can't afford it because I don't have enough income, and I'm not going to be unhappy my entire life. So I'll go into credit card debt by buying something, and that'll make me feel better about myself for a little bit. This person is also focused on TV instead of reading. And in this day, it'd probably be more focused on social media and like what an influencer is doing, so that you can kind of put that in perspective. And so here's the part that always stuck with me. So they're impulsive, so they don't think a lot about what they're going to spend money on. If they want it, they just buy it. And they're seeking approval. And the big thing here is that being impulsive means that you are controlled by emotional spending. And we all fall in this trap. So it's not like this is just one person, but how can we appeal to this person with an emotional appeal that appeals to the fact that maybe they are unhappy and this other person is really happy with this luxury goodish status, and we can get them to impulse buy something by appealing to emotion. And this fact about TV instead of reading kind of appeals to this idea that they're influenced more by the emotional side of their brain than the one that really analyzes what they're doing with money. And so the trap here is like, how do we limit our emotional spending with money. One of the tricks would be, well, give yourself 48 hours to a few days before you actually make a purchase, and then see if that purchase is still something that you actually want to buy. So it's really important to this striver that the outside world approves of them and sees them as someone that's made it, even though internally they don't really feel like they have. And then the final part of this lesson, and my professor talked about, was, a striver strives, but they never quite make it. And so they're always searching for that next thing to buy that makes them feel like maybe they will have made it. And so, from a marketing point of view, it's like, okay, well, what can we do to hook this person on our products? Well, we can have an ad or an influencer that has a really expensive product that looks like they've made it and their life is so easy and happy. And we'll encourage this striver that if they just buy this thing, then they'll live a happier life. And so, of course, this is, in my opinion, incredibly toxic. And I thought about myself, I was like, oh man, I kind of grew up with that sense of lack, and I'm trying to compensate for these things internally by really caring what other people think of me. And so the mindset shift, and the reason I'm sharing this video with you, and maybe it's helpful, maybe you're not a striver and this doesn't resonate with you, is to really look at why is it that you're purchasing the things that you are. And one of the comments, and the reason I wanted to make this video, that I keep seeing on the internet is, I'm not going to not buy something in my life because I might be dead tomorrow and I want to be happy and I deserve to have whatever it is that I want to buy at the time. And I certainly agree, don't restrict yourself so that to the point where, you no longer feel contentment and you feel like you're living a miserable life. But I would challenge a little bit this idea that you need to be able to buy something bigger and better or fancier that gets you to a higher level so that you will find contentment. One of the things I found in my life, and the big challenge towards wealth building, is to actually learn, how do you find contentment by spending less money? And so the big mindset shift is, I'm not going to be a striver because I'm not going to really seek outside approval. Like, I don't actually believe that if I buy this fancier thing and somebody looks at me a certain way, that I'll be any happier than I was before. I'm not going to buy a luxury good. I saw an ad that I think it was a Gucci purse that somebody paid $3,000 for. Actually cost Gucci $60 to make. So they make an insane amount of money on a luxury good. You blow all of your money and then they get wealthy on your work, which doesn't make any sense to me. One of the sayings I said, and I'll say it again, is, when are you going to stop spending money on other people's vision? Another person's vision was to build that business, to sell you this product to a striver so that they would get wealthy and you wouldn't. And so again, this is just a little Sunday morning story, and maybe I'll put this in like a rants and social commentary section, and maybe nobody will watch it. I don't get a lot of views on my videos anyway, so I'm just kind of having fun at this point. But I do hope that this sticks with you. If you find like, maybe I am kind of falling into this striver category, so that you can kind of get out of the trap, the hamster wheel that says you have to keep spending money on external products to find approval, to feel like you made it. Because the way you make it is actually to save your money and to invest in yourself and pay yourself first and use that money for a bigger vision that you have that doesn't depend on what anyone else is thinking about for you. It takes going a lot deeper in yourself and to not be influenced by marketers and people that are pushing this type of stuff that tell you that you need to give them your money to feel like you've made it. So I hope this Sunday morning video is helpful to someone out there, and have a good day.